Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
It's a pleasure to have you in our interviews.
The pleasure is on my side. Thank you so much.
Tell us about yourself and your life before your conversion.
Yes, of course. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري ولل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. This is a wonderful dua that Musa alayhi salam used to make. A bit about myself. I am a Norwegian. I am born and raised in Norway. I am 35 years old and my name is Kim Salih Larsson. I am born and raised in a small town in Norway which is called Trondheim. So it's a small, quiet place. I had a normal childhood and an upbringing. I was the son, or I am the son, of a working class father and mother. My father, he was a carpenter. My mother, she worked in a local supermarket and she still works there and I'm very happy there. So I would say average Joe, you could say about me. When I went to school also, I would say I was a normal child like every other Norwegian child. It wasn't something special about me. I was like the other children and I also had a lot of friends. But I think if I were to mention one difference, my mother, she used to say that you were always a believing boy. Like when you were small, I could see that you believe in God. And it's true, I used to sometimes, when I was small, I used to pray to God. So I was on my natural disposition. You can say my mother and father, they did not try to direct me in any specific direction. They mostly leave me at what we Muslims call fitra, is on your natural position, which you are born. They themselves at that time were what you may call agnostics. They did not express that they believe in God, but they also did not express that they disbelieve. But they didn't push me in any direction. After that, I was taking the education as a painter. Later on, I did some more school, and after that, I went to the military. Because I was called, I reckon it's same in many other countries, you are called to the military. And when I returned, I got into sales. So I started as a seller. And quickly I succeeded in sales and did quite well. And still living a normal Norwegian life. Then I decided I didn't want to become a painter. I want to go further in sales. So my natural step was for me at that time was a real estate agent. Then I went to an economic school. Actually, it's for economics, it's called BI. So what I ended up doing was I quit the study because I didn't like economics. It's not me. I am more a people guy. I like to interact with people and work with people. So what I did now is, this is how Allah showed us the way. Now I went back to painting. So now I finished my painting education, or I did the education, and then I finished my apprentice time and become a painter. And I think it was at that time it all started. I was becoming 25 years maybe of age at that time. I was beginning to look differently at life. I was beginning to think about what comes after this life. I was beginning to ask so many questions. What is the purpose of life? Why are we here? All these existential questions started coming to my mind at this point. And I was not biased, so it came from my heart. And then I started to do the research and searching for the right way. I was looking for God, and eventually I found Him.
So, how did your interest in Islam start?
My interest in Islam, for me, it's a two-part answer actually. Because my first interaction with Islam It was actually my neighbors. Back in the 90s in Norway is when it really started picking up a bit about the immigration. There started coming a lot of immigrants from other countries. Of course, it started before, but then it picked up pace, and a lot of immigrants moved to Norway. And in my case, where I lived, it was a lot of nationalities. Early on, I learned that a good person is a good person no matter his color. It doesn't matter. Also, I learned that a bad person is a bad person no matter what his color. In my neighborhood, there was a lot of Turkish settlers. They came from the areas of Konya in Turkey, actually. And a lot of the sons of these Muslim people, they were my friends. They went to my school. We played at the same soccer team. Every day we was out playing football, having fun together. And I remember sometime they would invite me to their houses, and I would see the signs of Islam. I would see their mothers carrying the hijab, for example. These are direct signs of Islam. So I understood that they came from the religion of Islam. And you could not imagine the way that they would meet me and greet me and take care of me as I was one of their own. There was such hospitality that I would say almost better than my own family. So this, I would say, was my first meeting with Islam. It was a good first encounter and a good first meeting, because I always had good connotations towards Islam because of this, because the way they treated me and the way they behaved, actually, as humans. Now to the other part of my question, I must go back to when I started searching. Because I look into a lot of religions, and of course it would be natural for me as Norwegian, which is a Christian country. Now there is not a lot of Christian peoples, really Christian peoples in Norway. But that is what you hear in school and from people, and we have some traditions which they say stem from the Christian religion. So I think I first was a bit confused. I thought, am I a Christian? No, I didn't feel as a Christian. I didn't like to go to the church. And I think whenever I would feel some calamity, that's when I prayed to God. That's when I raised my hands and I say, please help me about this, God. And it was a strange relationship, but it was a kind of relationship. So I started searching, and then I stumbled into, I think it was Buddhism. I started meditating to find some peace of mind. I was looking for God and trying so hard to find the right way. And I remember at one stage, I was afraid of dying and not being close to God, because I didn't feel that I was close to God. So I think I must find out what my purpose is. I must find God and His way. And I searched, and actually this meditation gave me some peace of mind, which I explored later when I became a Muslim. I realized that before prophethood, also our prophet, beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he also did meditation. So actually some scholars, they actually recommend doing meditation and thinking about the life and the existential questions, because this will probably lead you to Islam and to the truth. At least it did for me. But the decisive moment, it came when I met a childhood friend of mine. He was a Moroccan guy. We used to spend a lot of time in our youth, as I told you, playing football, go swimming, we did everything together. But at one point in life, we went in different directions. Our faith took us in different directions and we split apart. I think it was almost 10 years later that I met him. So this was my faith. We started talking, we started having good conversation about religion. And I told him, I opened my heart to him and told him what I think, how I saw life and everything. And I remember he asked me at one point, but you believe in one God? I said, yes, I do. I do. He said, you believe that Muhammad, peace be upon him, peace and blessing be upon him, was the last prophet? I said, yes, I have no problem with this. And you believe that Isa, or as the Christians say, Jesus, peace be upon him, was only a prophet also and not a son of God? I said, yes, I do. I believe he was only a prophet. As I can recall, I never ever prayed to Jesus, not even when I was confused about Christianity. So he said to me, but then you are like a Muslim. You are in some sense a Muslim because you believe in what we Muslims believe in. And then we had some more good conversations because we had something, we had some questions that I needed answer to. And this was related to this life. It was regarding, is it only this life or do we have another life? If you are bad in this life, will we be getting a second chance in another life? And I had to figure this out. And when he explained to me, I understood that it is here and now. You only have this life and this chance. He asked me one day, he said to me, do you want to come with me and pray? I said, why not? Let's do it. I was ready at this stage. And then we did go to pray. And at first, it was like I was just following him. He was the imam and I was following him. I didn't know nothing. I didn't even at that time know Surah Al-Fatiha, which is the opening verse in Quran, which we must do in every prayer. And the thing is, something hit my heart when I did the Shahada. Because actually, my Shahada I did after I did my first prayer. And at some point, early on, when I became a Muslim, I remember my Moroccan brother, he taught me a lot of things and he advised me, gave me good advice, who I should listen to, who I should not listen to. And it's good advice to follow the Quran and the Sunnah. And the thing is, he left me for some while. He had to do some, we can say, some traveling. So he disappeared from my life for a little bit. And now I was a little bit on my own. And what I did, because I didn't know a word of Arabic. I was a Norwegian boy who speak fairly good English, but Arabic, no way. I didn't know Arabic, one Arabic word, other than maybe Salam Alaikum. This is maybe the first thing I learned. So, and mashallah, of course, a lot of people know this word. So, but the thing I did, I stood for every prayer with my mobile phone, my mobile in my hand, and I had like a small guide on how to do the prayer. After maybe a week or so, I learned how to pray and how to say those things in Arabic and those small short verses. So you can say this is my encounter with Islam, and this is also how it all started and how I became Muslim.
At what age did you convert? What were the reactions of your family and friends about your conversion?
If I remember correctly, because after Islam I almost stopped counting the years and stopped counting the days. But if I remember correctly, I was about 28 years of age. That was my age at the time. And I was working as a painter at that time. The reaction of my family, my friends, and my colleagues were a little bit mixed. At that time, the girl or the woman that is my wife today was my girlfriend at that time. Now I know in Islam we don't have girlfriends, but I was just beginning to know about Islam, and she was with me already at that time. And the good thing, if I think first, take first things first, is that already before I got to know my wife today, we talked about God. We talked about we being believers and we believe in God before, when we started getting to know each other. So this was a kind of natural move. It was not something strange about it. But my wife, she became Muslim, I think it was maybe 2 or 3 months after my reversion to Islam. So Allah made it easy upon us. We straight away get married. We did a niqah, the Muslim way of doing wedding. And regarding our families, they didn't oppose to this. They didn't oppose. And I think further on, I think they like their son more after Islam than before Islam, because in Islam we are taught to treat our parents with goodness and kindness. So I think they saw a positive change. A boy starting being more nice to his parents, being more dutiful towards his parents, quit going out and drinking alcohol and this bad stuff, doing more positive and good stuff in life. So of course, isn't this what every parents want for their children? To be good humans, to be kind and good to others and good towards our parents, having good morals, staying away from bad stuff. I'm a parent myself and I would want this myself for my children. So they took it in a good manner, I would say. Regarding the parents of my wife, they also took it in a good manner. My father and mother-in-law, they actually lived in Turkey for 1 year, many, many years ago. He used to be a professional football player for a club called Bursaspor. So they lived in Turkey. They experienced a Muslim country. They experienced Muslim people. They were their neighbors, and they were pleased with living in Turkey. They said the neighbors treated them very well, and this corresponds with also what I was experiencing in Norway when I got to know the Muslim families and the Turkish people. So they experienced the same thing. So for them, Islam was not something new. So they were quite positive to it. With that being said, of course, after a while, we changed also a lot. Islam changed our lives, our habits, how we used to look at things in a better way, in a much, much better way. We know. But not every people around you know this. So of course, there have been some adaptation from the families. For example, we cannot go to parties where there are alcohol and this stuff. They had to adapt to these kind of things. But they adapted in a good manner. We walked on this road together, and I think we became much better version of ourselves. And I hope and think that our parents also are pleased with this, and they see good changes in us. And we live together side by side, even though they are not Muslim at this stage. We have no problem with each other, and we can handle things in a good manner. Now, regarding my friends, I started looking differently at life. Other things in life became more important. I changed the way I look at things. I changed my behavior, my morals, and my ways of life. And this naturally led to us colliding at one point. Because in Norway, they see things in a traditional sense, maybe a little bit different than the Muslim way of life. Back in the days, it was more similar when there was more Christians in Norway, but now there is a little bit different. So we fell further and further and further and further apart, because I wanted A and they wanted B. They tried to go in one direction, I tried to go in another direction. So that if they don't follow me and I don't follow them, then we will stray further and further apart. So almost, I think, all of my close friends from that time is today no longer with me. But Allah replaced them with something better for me. He gave me better friends with better values in life that wanted also the same thing as me. So it was perfect. And my co-workers, for example, this is also, it's kind of interesting because I say this with all humility, but my co-workers, they used to like me. But after I became Muslim, things changed a bit. But as our beloved Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, he also felt this at some time. And Allah said to him the best of words from the Quran. It's not you they don't like, it is Islam. So I early on experienced that it wasn't me they don't like, because this don't change over one night, because my behavior was still the same. I have not done anything bad towards them. So it was no reason for them not to like me. But I saw the change in them. So it was Islam. So this doesn't sadden me. It doesn't sadden me. It just shows me that this is the right way. It is exactly how Allah has described in the Quran.
Were there things that you were missing in your life before converting? What were you looking for?
At one point in my life, I became afraid of dying in the state I was living. I felt, now remember, I was living the life of a Norwegian, normal, average Norwegian, I would say. But I felt there was something missing in my life, and I was afraid of dying in that state. I didn't feel it was a good state to die in. I felt that it must be more to life than this. The way I'm living life doesn't seem to me to be a good way. And I don't think my Creator wants this from me. I was living a roller coaster. I was trying to get as many good days as possible and staying away from the bad days. I think most or a lot of people are living in this way. And I think this life, there is so many highs and lows in your emotional registry. This is what I think creates bad emotion in people and are creating so much depression these days. Because you go from a state of being very happy to a state of being very low. You don't have something that puts you back into normal mode, you can say. And you are constantly guessing because you don't know the truth. How can you know the truth? We are only created, but we know nothing. So I felt that I don't know nothing. I don't know. Every time I do a thing or I make a decision, I will ask myself, is this the right decision? Should I do this or should I do that? And when you finally make a decision, maybe later you are thinking, oh man, was that the right decision? No, I should have done this, I should have done this. And you can never get peace in this way. So in many sense, I was searching for the right way. I was searching for guidance and the purpose of life itself and the purpose of us being here. And that I found in Islam. So yes, you can definitely say there was something missing in my life, and there was definitely something I was searching for. And all the praises for our Creator who showed me the right way.
How would you describe your life before and after Islam?
It's a big difference, I would say. It's a big difference. I was talking about a little bit about the highs and the lows on the emotional registry. As I said before, I was not sure when I made decisions. When I became Muslim, everything fell into balance. Everything became so much more easier. And actually, it's somewhat ironically this part, because a lot of people that are not Muslims, I know from my life, and I know from my brothers and sisters in Islam also get this question. Isn't it hard being a Muslim, following all these rules, do the 5 daily prayers, do the fasting in the month of Ramadan and this stuff? Isn't it hard? And the same answer goes every time. No, it's not hard. For us, it's much more easy. Because now I know the purpose. Now I know, as long as I follow what our Creator has told us to do, I know in my heart, and I can feel it with all my body and with my soul, 100%, that when I do these things, it's good for me, both in a mental, a physical, and emotional way. I can feel it with all my body. So now the difference now is I don't hesitate. I feel good about what I do and my decisions, as long as they are in accordance with what our Creator have told us. And I don't have the highs and the lows. My feelings are more like this, more in tune. And to describe it at best, I would say I used to say to people like this: there can be a storm outside, but inside I always feel calmness. I can feel difficulties, but inside I feel calmness. And that is for me truly, truly a great victory. Because I know there is a lot of people struggling. I did it myself when I was not a Muslim. And I know I was not alone. I know this is a trend, at least in my country. People try to escape the reality. People, they take drugs because of depression. 16-year-olds, young people who should be looking at the bright side of life. Unfortunately, they are troubling finding their way through life. And I know that the right way is Islam. I know that the answer is Islam because I have lived on both sides. And I had the friends, I had the materialism, I had the popularity, but it was nothing compared to Islam. This is the only thing that will eventually give you peace and success, both in this life and in the next life.
Which aspect of Islam affected you the most? Your favorite thing about being a Muslim?
The thing that definitely affected me the most was, if I were to say one thing, it would be the prayer. It's very difficult to explain to people that don't pray why it is the prayer. But people that pray, they know very well why it's the best part of Islam. Because you leave all your worries, all your worldly affairs, you leave them and you stand up to worship your Creator. It's the best time of my day is when after I have finished the prayer, in the prayer and after I have finished the prayer. I feel so much more complete. And I would like to add one more thing. It's the Brotherhood and the Sisterhood in Islam. It's unique. As I said, as I mentioned before, I had a lot of friends. I'm saying this in a humble way, but I have a lot of friends. I think I was in some kind, the glue between different friend circles. Used to bring people together. So I had a lot of friends. So I know the feeling of friendship, and I'm very grateful for that. But when I came to Islam, I saw something different in the way people trust each other, even though you don't know each other. And it's difficult to explain, but I will tell you a story. Me and my wife and my family, we were traveling to London to visit my brother-in-law. He used to live in London and we were supposed to visit him. Now, back to actually my Moroccan brother. He said, "Oh, you're going to London. I know a person in London. I can introduce you to him." And I said, "Yeah, of course. Why not? Why not?" So he gave me his contact information. I contacted him. He said, "Yes, of course. If you are a brother of him, you're a Moroccan brother, then you are a brother of me. No problem. I can meet you." So we came to London. We stayed at my brother-in-law's apartment, and we stayed there for some days. I noticed him. We have come. And then he said, "So and so day I will come and pick you up." I said, "Fine, that sounds wonderful." He came, he picked me up in front of the apartment, and we started talking in the car, and it was like the most natural thing. It is like, how can I explain the feeling? After talking with him, spending the day with him, I would describe it like this. It's like I met a friend of mine that I have known for 15 years maybe, and I have not met him in a long time. This is the feeling, how it felt. There are more aspects of this. One thing is, I have never met this guy, but still I trust him. He just came, picked me up. I trust him, he trusts me. We go as we have known and talk as if we have known each other for years and years and years, even though the truth is we don't know each other. The only thing we have among us, between us, is the salam. Is the salamu alaykum. Is the feeling of may the peace and blessing of Allah be upon you. And this is such a strong bond. And this is what gave us the trust. And this is a unique thing of Islam. And I think I speak for a lot of people, which are believers and non-believers, that if you have lived a life as a non-Muslim, I think you have felt this sometime, how can I trust this person? I would probably never have trusted him in this way and met him in this way if it weren't for the fact that we both were Muslims. And I trusted him because of this. The sole reason was because of Islam. So one of the best part of Islam is definitely the unique brother and sisterhood of Islam. It is unique and it is genuine and it is full of love, trust and compassion. It's something you must experience to understand.
Are there any problems that you face as a revert?
Yes, there are. There may be some difficulties. And I think those difficulties are mainly for living in a non-Muslim country. Of course, we must understand, especially me, I understand that the background I have, where I come from, they are not used to the Muslims that much. So they don't understand everything about Islam, and some things for them might be a little bit strange. So the problems or the difficulties or challenges we are facing are mainly due to this. Also, there are some challenges for me personally. This is more maybe in a general sense, but I reckon also a lot of my brothers and sisters in Norway would feel the same regarding the challenges. And this is about, for example, availability. There are not so many masjids, mosques in our cities in Norway. So the availability can be a little bit of a challenge. So there are definitely challenges, but there are also solutions. It just depends on how you look at them. And my brothers and sisters in Norway and the one who are thinking about coming into this beautiful religion of Islam, also I would say that the more you struggle or the more difficulties you go through, the bigger and the greater is the reward. And no worries, you have a big brother and sisterhood in Islam that will be supporting you and helping you. And together we will get through the difficulties. When I face some difficulties, I know that it's a test. So it's much more easy for me to cope with. As I said, It might be a storm outside, it might face difficulties and challenges, but inside there's always the calmness.
So, what advice would you give to new reverts and people who are searching in their life to find their way?
Sometimes there might be challenges, as we have talked about, but my best advice would be to stick to your 5 daily prayers. Hold fast to them, because hold fast to the rope of Allah. Do never let them go, because this is what will lead you in the end to success. In Islam, there are a lot of people who want to tell you things. They want to tell you that I am the way to the right Islam. I know the right way to Islam. So we must make sure to follow the Quran as it is the word of our Creator. We know this to be 100% true, and nobody can corrupt it. And we also have the hadith, the sayings of our beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, that are guiding us. The second part of the question goes to the one who is not yet Muslims. Now it can be difficult addressing people who are not Muslim, because we are at such different stages in our life and different situations. But one thing I know to be true, because I was an average Joe, I had a normal life. But one thing I know to be true is that we are all insecure. We are all insecure 100%. Even the most scholared professor in the world is not sure about his hypothesis. You can have a lot of ideas about life, but you are not sure. Are you 100% sure? Can you ask yourself in the mirror, are you 100% sure that this is the right way? No, you are not. I know the answer. I know the answer. But when you come to Islam, you will come to know that this is the right way. It's difficult for me to explain why you will know, but Allah will show you in many different ways that this is the right way. He will show you maybe from miracles, maybe from within yourself, from feelings you have. And He will definitely help you find the right way if you search the right way with sincerity.